When it comes to collected editions, the one thing that people hate more than missing issues is double dipping. But when it comes to Flashpoint, are you going to have to buy this twice? Woof woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Mad Dog, and we're back with another video. Before anybody feels the need to leave a strongly worded comment down below, the reason why this video exists is because of the fact that I was already doing a video that was missing the issue Flashpoint. Similar to what I've already done for JLA by Grant Morrison and Superman by Peter J. Tomasi, I wanted to do a video where I break down what exactly isn't contained in this very whammy boy that some of you have already managed to pick up. So yeah, I get that I might be a smidge late, but literally as I was about to sit down and record that video, DC announced that they're going to be doing a Flash by Geoff Johns Omnibus Volume 3. And if you're all on the fence about either of these books, or maybe you're not sure which one you have to pick up, or even if you have to pick up any of these at all, this will hopefully help you. As long as this video helps at least one person, then it was worthwhile, and I have had at least 3 human people asking me about this topic. So unless you guys have got any syrup, I'm going to stop waffling on and just have a look at what's in both of these books. The Flashpoint Omnibus, which was due to be released a couple of days ago, it contains Booster Gold 44 to 47, Flash 9 to 12, Flashpoint 1 to 5, and then near enough every Flashpoint tie-in that got published around this time. I did do a few takes where I actually listed every book that is in it, but I heard how boring it was in my own head, so I'm just going to do it this way. But for the Flash by Geoff Johns Omnibus Volume 3 that's due out at the end of this year, it contains Final Crisis Rogue's Revenge 1 to 3, The Flash Rebirth 1 to 6, Flash Issue 1 to 12, Blackest Night The Flash Issue 1 to 3, Blackest Night Black Lantern Corps Volume 2 Issue 1, The Flash Secret Files and Origins Issue 1, and Flashpoint Issues 1 to 5. So just by looking at the solicits for those 2 books, it looks like the only issues that are going to overlap are Flash Issues 9 to 12 and Flashpoint Issues 1 to 5. It kind of makes sense that they would be contained in each of those respective omnibuses, so I'm not too annoyed at the overlap there. And admittedly, nobody would have brought a Flashpoint omnibus if it didn't contain Flash Issues 1 to 5, and I think everybody would have been annoyed if in the Flash by Geoff Johns Volume 3 it didn't include Flash Issues 9 to 12, because it's a weird crossover point between those 2 series, so you can't really leave it out of either one. So on the surface, you might be thinking that it is worth picking up both of these omnibuses, and then you can enjoy this full run in the way that it should be enjoyed. But today I had to face a very hard truth that maybe Flashpoint isn't as great as I thought it was, and it's just nostalgia. And I think this might clear up a lot of confusion for people who maybe don't know which of these omnibuses to pick up, because of the fact that when I look at this solicitation, so you've got stuff like Booster Gold 44 to 47, I'm hoping that that's eventually collected in some kind of Booster Gold Post 52 omnibus. But besides that, the Flash issues and the Flashpoint event itself, near enough everything else is a tie-in. And I bought every single one of these when they were coming out. Yes, I even got the Abin Sur Green Lantern one. I even got the one about the Flying Graysons. I literally brought everything that had that Flashpoint banner on it. But looking here at the list, there isn't too much that I remember that fondly that I'm like, yes, that is worth buying this omnibus for if you weren't reading this at the time. If you haven't already got that love and that nostalgia for this event, you might be disappointed by near enough half of this book. There's only one real exception to that, and that's Flashpoint Knights of Vengeance. This was a 3-issue tie-in that was written by Brian Azzarello and illustrated by Eduardo Risso. Yep, the same people who did 100 Bullets, Luthor, and Joker, which I've already done a review of. And to be completely honest with you, I actually think Batman Knights of Vengeance is quite possibly better than the Flashpoint event itself. And right now you might be hating me because of the fact that most people do anyway, but also because of the fact that now I've put you in a conundrum. Because of the fact that Flashpoint Knights of Vengeance issues 1 to 3 isn't contained in the Flash by Geoff Johns Omnibus Volume 3, you might be thinking, yeah, but now I feel like I need to get the Flashpoint Omnibus in order to get that part of the story. Not the case at all, because there was a deluxe edition that came out a few years ago, which was Batman by Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Risso. This contains the entire miniseries, so if you're not too bothered about all the tie-ins and you get the general gist that they might not be for you anyway, admittedly, I do remember quite enjoying the ones with Aquaman and Wonder Woman because they were at war at that point in the storyline, then you can simply pick up the Flash by Geoff Johns Omnibus Volume 3 and this one and pretty much get everything that you really need to from the Flashpoint event. If you've got quite a tight budget when it comes to omnibuses or collected editions in general, the Flashpoint Omnibus might be one that you can actually sit out and not really miss too much out on if you're planning on buying any of these books later down the road. The Brian Azzarello hardcover was actually on sale for quite a significant amount of time, and last I checked, it was still available on HMV in the UK. If it wasn't clear already, I think you will get a much more enjoyable reading experience just from getting the Flash Omnibus Volume 3 rather than the Flashpoint 10th anniversary. Because even though issues 1 to 8 of Flash didn't directly tie into Flashpoint besides one person saying that it was coming, you still do get a really good chunk of storytelling there, and it's the first time that Francis Manapul illustrated the Flash. And more so than that, if you've already got your Flash by Geoff Johns Volume 1, 2 and the Francis Manapul volume, Volume 3 will slot in perfectly and give you a good bridge there. But on the other side of that coin, if you're leaning towards just getting the Flashpoint Omnibus and you're hoping that I give you some justification for it, you don't really need my approval in the first place. It's your money, buy what you want, even donate to my tip jar if you wanted to. But I think an argument could be made for people who just wanted to pick up the Flashpoint Omnibus because of the fact that maybe you like events, and this is actually the prequel to the New 52. It's never actually going to be called that, but if you know about the New 52, then to you this would actually be the case. So maybe you're really looking forward to that Justice League by Geoff Johns Omnibus, but you don't really want to have to buy the first 2 volumes of the Flash series. If I boil it down to the absolute basics, all you really need to know to just jump into Flashpoint is that Barry Allen is back from the dead. And if that's something that you're just unable to accept, then maybe superhero comics aren't going to be for you. That's possibly the one and only way that the Flashpoint Omnibus can save you more money than getting Volume 3, and that's if you haven't already got these new editions of Volume 1 and 2. Because unfortunately, if you add those original printings, they are completely obsolete now, because what is contained in Volume 3 that's coming out later this year isn't contained in any of those first printings of this run. They didn't even do you a favour and just call it something like the Flash Barry Allen by Geoff Johns Omnibus so that you could just pick up that one and then you're still going to be comfortable with the original printings of this run. That's not the case here, so to summarise, if you did only have to get one volume, I admittedly would be leaning towards Volume 3 rather than the event omnibus. But that's just my personal opinion, you don't have to agree with it, you don't have to accept it, but if you were asking me which one you'd have to pick up if you could only get one, that's the answer that I'm going to give you. The next argument to consider, do you need to pick up both of these books? It may sound like I'm just repeating what I said in the last question, but there is actually a distinction between the two. Because often when I look at people's shelves, I see that they've got the 3 Green Lantern volumes, but then they've also got the Blackest Night omnibus. Me personally, I feel like there's no difference between that situation and this one that we've got right here with Flash. It's just like a supplementary volume. If it was called something like the Flash by Geoff Johns Companion Omnibus, then people might not have as much of a problem. And at the same time, it's your collection, so you should be buying books that you are happy with and that you want to see on your shelves. You don't need to pick up Flashpoint just because of the fact that it exists and it's an omnibus. But at the same time, there's absolutely no issues with picking up both of these, and it's what I'm planning on doing. It's not like the situation that we had with Super Sons when the expanded edition came out. This is a completely different ballpark, and I think that if you look at it as more of a companion omnibus, then you'll be much more comfortable making that decision. If you're somebody that feels like you don't need a companion omnibus to Flashpoint, then yeah, stick with just getting Volume 3. But if that's something that you enjoy, maybe you want to collect everything from this event, just like I'm doing because I've got zero control, then go for it. As long as you've got the money and that you can comfortably buy that and that you're happy enough to get it, then I think that there's no harm at all getting both of these books. However, one thing that I've also had asked that I want to cover in this so that it can be as comprehensive of a video as possible is, do you need to buy either of these books? If we're going to get 100% pragmatic about it, no, you don't need to buy any book if we're honest. But if we're going to go back and not be as pragmatic as I kind of wanted to be in that moment, then no, you don't actually really need to buy any of these to gain more of this story. What I mean by that is, even though it says Volume 3, it's mainly just the Flash character, because obviously in these first 2 volumes we're following Wally West. But if I remember correctly from the solicitations, everything that's going to be included in this Volume 3 is entirely about Barry Allen. So if that's a character that you don't care too much about, you can comfortably just have Volume 1 and 2 and you've still got a full story there. This continuation of the run picked up quite a few years after Geoff Johns had finished with this second book. So besides maybe a few minor things, there's nothing that really carries over from this second volume into this third that's coming out soon. Even though I still think what's contained in this Volume 3 is great Flash storytelling that everybody should give a chance to, it's not like you're left on a cliffhanger if you only read these 2 books. So what I would honestly recommend is to check out the solo series that came out post Brightest Day. Those Flash issues 1 to 12 that were illustrated by Francis Manapul that were the build up to Flashpoint. Give them a read, maybe digitally if you've got that DC app that actually lets you read comics. Yeah, I'm still quite bitter about that. It's worth just giving them a read to see if it is something that you want, because it might be that you feel like there's too much of a disconnect between the Wally West stuff and this Barry Allen arc. In which case then you wouldn't need to pick up either of these books and you've saved yourself a good £100, if not more. So despite what I'm personally going to do with my collection, I'm always still going to try and give you as many answers as possible so that it can try and accommodate your situation. I love this Flash run, and I also love Flashpoint, so I am quite happy to pick up both of these books, and I don't really feel like I'm going to be wasting any money. But that might not be the case for you, and I don't want to be a channel that's just going to give you what I'm going to do and tell you that as if it's fact. So just have a look around at these options and see which one works best for you. But I think I'm going to leave this video there, and if you're planning on picking up this omnibus or any of the others, I'd recommend checking out our sponsor, Organic Price Books. There's an affiliate link down below, and as well as that, if you use code WOOFWOOF at the checkout, you will get $2 off your first order. But what are you planning on doing these Flash omnibuses? Are you going to get the volume 3? Are you going to get the 10th anniversary? Are you going to pick up neither? Or are you going to pick up both? But if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, why did you get this far? Subscribe if you're new here and click the bell notification so that you never miss a video. And if you can, sharing this video in any Facebook groups, Reddit page, or on your Instagram will greatly help the channel, and also it might help somebody else save a bit of money. Why not check out one of my other videos? But until next time, just make sure that you stay safe, stay reading the best books that you can find, and stay mad all you dogs. Woof woof! See you at the next video.